Hello and welcome back to Paul the Storytellers. I'm sharing meaningful stories here, and if you're considering liking it and subscribing it, it would be a great help to me. Now, let us begin with another touching stories with the narrative voice of my friend Mary. Let us begin.
Tonight we will sleep together.
Mandatory business trip, fully booked hotel, one room and only one bed. Dante Moretti, a mafia boss who hadn't grown attached to anyone in 15 years, never imagined sharing a bed with his secretary because it would test a self-control he didn't trust himself to have. And he truly didn't, because what happened that night would change everything.
Welcome to my library. I'm Lena, and our story is just beginning.
The hotel receptionist looks at us like we're a problem she doesn't have time to solve. I'm very sorry, but due to the conference in town, we're completely booked. The system shows only one room available under your reservation. She's typing rapidly, not making eye contact, which tells me she's already decided this isn't her fault and therefore not her problem to fix. Dante doesn't react visibly, but I feel the shift in his energy beside me, that particular stillness that means he's calculating his next move, while everyone else is still processing the current situation. He's been my boss for exactly 6 months, and in that time I've learned to read his silences better than most people read entire conversations. One room. His voice is flat, not a question, a statement that carries weight the receptionist doesn't fully understand. And with how many beds? One king bed, sir. It's our executive suite. Very spacious. Separate sitting area. I can have a cot brought up if... No cot. He cuts her off with precision that suggests the conversation is over before she realizes it started. We'll take it. Send up my luggage. Then he's walking toward the elevators without checking if I'm following, which I am because apparently my body has decided that trailing after Dante Moretti like an obedient employee is more important than standing in the lobby, having an existential crisis about sharing a bedroom with a man who barely acknowledges my existence most days. I catch up to him just as the elevator doors open. We step inside. The doors close. We're alone in a small metal box, and the silence is so heavy I can feel it pressing against my chest, making breathing feel like work instead of reflex. I can find another hotel. The words come out before I can stop them. This is uncomfortable. We can just... Every hotel within 20 miles is booked solid. I already checked. He's looking straight ahead at the mirrored doors, not at me, which somehow makes this worse because I can see his reflection, and he looks completely unbothered while I'm actively spiraling. We're here for meetings tomorrow morning at 8. Finding alternate accommodation wastes time we don't have. You'll take the bed. I'll take the chair. Problem solved. You can't sleep in a chair. I'm trying for reasonable. Landing somewhere near anxious. You're like 6'3". You'll wake up crippled. I've slept in worse places for worse reasons. A hotel chair for one night won't kill me. The elevator stops. Doors open. He exits without waiting, pulling out the key card the receptionist gave him like this entire situation is just another minor inconvenience in a life full of them. The room is exactly as advertised. Large. Expensive. One massive bed that dominates the space like an elephant we're both pretending not to see. There's a sitting area with a chair that looks comfortable enough for sitting, but would be torture for sleeping, and floor-to-ceiling windows that showcase the city lights in a way that would be romantic if this were a different situation with different people. Dante sets his briefcase down methodically, removes his jacket with the same controlled precision he applies to everything, and I'm trying very hard not to notice how his shirt fits, or how his shoulders move, or any of the 1,000 small details I've been actively not noticing for 6 months because noticing them feels dangerous in ways I can't articulate. Bathroom's there. He gestures vaguely. Take it first. I have calls to make. He's already pulling out his phone, dismissing me, and I should be relieved. But instead I'm irritated because this is exactly what he does. Treats me like furniture that serves a function and can be ignored when not actively useful. And I'm tired of feeling invisible to someone I see every single day. Why do you do that? The question surprises us both. He looks up slowly, dark eyes finding mine with focus that makes my skin feel too tight. Do what? Act like I'm an inconvenience. Like having to share space with me is torture you're nobly enduring. I'm gesturing at the room, at him, at the situation. I get that this is awkward. I get that you'd rather be literally anywhere else. But you don't have to treat me like I'm contaminated just because we're stuck in the same room for one night. Something flickers across his face too fast for me to identify before the mask slams back down. I'm not treating you like anything. I'm giving you privacy and space in an uncomfortable situation. Would you prefer I make it more uncomfortable by... He stops, jaw tightening. Forget it. Use the bathroom. I have work to do. By what? I'm not letting this go, even though every self-preservation instinct is screaming at me to shut up and stop poking the dangerous man. Finish the sentence. Make it more uncomfortable by what exactly? By acknowledging that sharing a bedroom with you is the last thing I should be doing. The words come out harsh, honest in a way that steals my breath. By admitting that the reason I'm sleeping in that chair isn't chivalry, it's self-preservation. By saying out loud that you being near me is a problem I don't know how to solve without crossing lines, I've spent 6 months very carefully not crossing. Is that clear enough for you? The silence that follows is suffocating. He's looking at me like he just confessed something he can't take back, and I'm looking at him like he just confirmed every suspicion I've been trying to ignore for half a year. Oh, it's all I can manage. Yeah, oh, he turns away sharply. So take the bathroom, take your time, and when you come out, we're going to pretend this conversation didn't happen and get through tonight like professionals who don't have any reason to make this complicated. I flee to the bathroom because staying feels impossible. Lock the door, lean against it trying to process what just happened. Dante Moretti just admitted that I'm a problem for him, that sharing space with me requires self-preservation measures, that there are lines he's been carefully not crossing, which means he's thought about crossing them, which means I'm not insane for feeling this tension between us, which means the chemistry I've been trying to convince myself I'm imagining is real and mutual and dangerous in exactly the way I suspected. I take the longest shower of my life trying to wash away the anxiety and failing spectacularly. When I finally emerge wearing the oversized t-shirt and sleep shorts I packed because I didn't anticipate this nightmare scenario, he's sitting in the chair by the window with his laptop open and his phone pressed to his ear, speaking rapid Italian to someone who's clearly pissing him off based on his tone. He glances at me, eyes tracking from my bare legs up to my face, with expression that's carefully neutral, but I catch the moment his jaw tightens before he looks away deliberately. Good. Let him be uncomfortable. I've been uncomfortable around him since the day I started working for him, and realized my brother's best friend had grown into someone who makes my brain malfunction just by existing in the same room. I climb into bed, making as much noise as possible because petty feels better than awkward. Pull the covers up. Grab my phone. Pretend to be fascinated by emails I don't actually care about while hyper-aware of him 10 feet away sounding deadly, in a language I don't understand, but find unreasonably attractive anyway. His call ends. Silence fills the space. I can hear him typing, can feel him not looking at me with the same intensity. I'm not looking at him. You should sleep. His voice cuts through the quiet. Tomorrow's going to be long. I'm not tired. Lie. I'm exhausted. But admitting that feels like giving ground in a war neither of us has declared. Then pretend. Close your eyes. Count sheep. Do whatever people who sleep normally do. He sounds tired now. Actually tired instead of just controlled. And I have another hour of work. Then I'll turn off the lights. You don't have to sleep in the chair. I try one more time. The bed is huge. We could put pillows between us like some ridiculous rom-com scenario, and both actually get rest instead of you destroying your spine for some outdated sense of propriety. No, flat final. That's not happening. Why not? We're both adults. We can share a bed without it being weird. Even as I say it, I know it's a lie. Everything about this is weird. It's just sleeping. It's not just sleeping. He's looking at me now, and there's something in his expression that makes my heart race. You in that bed 6 feet away is already testing my self-control. You in that bed next to me would obliterate it. So no, I'm sleeping in the chair. End of discussion. Your self-control regarding what exactly? I'm pushing now. Deliberately. What terrible thing do you think you're going to do if we share a mattress? Accidentally touch me. Spontaneously combust from proximity. I think I'm going to stop pretending I don't want to touch you. The honesty is brutal. I think I'm going to cross every line I've drawn. I think I'm going to do something we'll both regret in the morning when you remember I'm your boss and you're my best friend's sister. And this entire situation is professionally and personally catastrophic. Maybe I wouldn't regret it. The words escape before my brain can veto them. His expression shudders immediately. You would. Trust me. I'm not what you think I am. I'm not some misunderstood hero waiting for the right woman to fix me. I'm just a man who's very good at not feeling things, and very bad at dealing with the rare occasions when I do. He closes his laptop with finality. Now go to sleep. We're done talking about this. I should argue, should push back, should do something other than roll over and face the wall like a scolded child. But the exhaustion wins. The emotional whiplash of the last hour catches up, and I let my eyes close. Even though my brain is still racing through everything he said and didn't say, I'm almost asleep when I hear it. The chair creaking, footsteps, the bathroom door closing, water running, then silence again. When I wake up hours later, disoriented in the darkness, I see him, still in the chair, laptop closed, arms crossed over his chest, head tilted back, asleep, but clearly uncomfortable. based on the tension in his shoulders. I should leave him alone, should respect the boundaries he's drawn, should go back to sleep and forget this entire night happened. Instead, I get up quietly, grab the extra blanket from the closet, approach him slowly, like he's some dangerous animal that might wake and attack. Drape it over him carefully, trying not to disturb whatever rest he's managing to get. His eyes open immediately, dark and alert like he wasn't actually asleep at all. "What are you doing?" Voice rough from exhaustion. "Giving you a blanket. You looked cold." "I'm backing away already. Go back to sleep." "Can't sleep." He adjusts the blanket anyway, too uncomfortable, physically and every other way. The offer to share the bed still stands. I'm whispering for some reason like there's anyone to disturb. No weird expectations, just two exhausted people getting actual rest. "You're not going to let this go. It's not a question. You're going to wreck yourself sleeping in that chair and be useless tomorrow," which defeats the purpose of this entire trip. I'm using logic because emotion clearly isn't working. Be practical. Swallow your pride. Share the bed like an adult. He stands, towers over me in the darkness. I can't see his expression clearly, but I can feel his presence like physical weight. If I do this, there are rules. Okay, my heart is racing for no logical reason. What rules? You stay on your side, I stay on mine. No talking, no touching, no acknowledging that this is happening. We sleep, we wake up, we never mention it again. His voice is controlled, but I hear the strain underneath. Agreed. I'm already moving back toward the bed before he can change his mind. He follows slowly, like each step costs him something I don't understand. Slides under the covers on the far edge, maintaining maximum possible distance. I'm on my side. He's on his. There's approximately 3 feet of mattress between us that feels like 3 miles and 3 inches simultaneously. "Good night," I whisper. This doesn't change anything. His response is quiet. And tomorrow we go back to normal. Professional, distant, like this never happened. Whatever you need to tell yourself. I close my eyes. Try to ignore the fact that I can hear him breathing. Can feel the warmth of him despite the distance. Can sense every micro movement he makes like my body has developed Dante-specific radar. Sleep should be impossible, but exhaustion wins eventually. I drift off, listening to his breathing even out, feeling safer than I should, given that I'm sharing a bed with my boss who just admitted he wants to cross lines he's drawn. When I wake up hours later, the sun is starting to rise and I'm no longer on my side of the bed. Somehow in the night, I migrated. We both did. His arm is around me. My back is against his chest. We're tangled together like we've done this 1,000 times before, instead of it being the first and supposedly only time. I freeze. Don't breathe. Try to figure out how to extract myself without waking him and making this infinitely more awkward. But he's already awake. I can tell by the change in his breathing, by the way his arm tightens fractionally before he forces himself to let go, by the way he rolls away like I'm burning him. That didn't happen. His voice is rough. Absolute. We're getting up. Getting ready, going to our meetings, and never speaking of this again. Clear. Crystal. I'm staring at the ceiling, trying to slow my heart rate. Totally clear. He disappears into the bathroom. I hear the shower start, and I'm left in bed. That still smells like him wondering how I'm supposed to go back to professional and distant when I now know exactly how it feels to wake up in his arms. Chapter 2. Who he is. The man incapable of love. The meetings are torture. Not because they're difficult or boring, but because Dante is sitting 3 feet away from me, radiating tension that only I seem to notice, while everyone else in the conference room discusses quarterly projections like the world didn't fundamentally shift last night when we woke up tangled together in a bed we weren't supposed to share. He's in full boss mode now. Sharp suit, sharper focus, speaking with authority that makes grown men defer to him without question. This is the Dante Moretti the world sees. Powerful, controlled, untouchable. The man who built an empire before 30 through methods nobody discusses in polite company, but everyone knows aren't entirely legal. I take notes mechanically while my brain replays this morning. The way his arm felt around me. The way his breath was warm against my neck. The way he looked at me before he disappeared into the bathroom like I was something dangerous he needed distance from immediately. Miss Rossi, one of the executives, is looking at me expectantly. Did you get those numbers? I blink. Realize I've been staring at my notepad without actually writing anything for the last 5 minutes. Sorry, could you repeat that? Dante's eyes cut to me, dark, assessing. He knows I wasn't paying attention, which is completely unlike me, because I'm aggressively competent at my job specifically, so nobody can accuse me of being here just because my brother is his best friend. The projected revenue for the Eastern Territories, 3rd quarter. The executive sounds patient, but I can hear the underlying irritation. 2.3 million with 15% growth margin accounting for seasonal fluctuation and new market penetration. The numbers come automatically, because I did actually read the preliminary reports, even if I'm currently too distracted to remember doing it. Adjusted for currency exchange and political instability in two of the key regions, we're looking at closer to 2.1 conservative estimate. The executive nods, satisfied, returns his attention to Dante, who's still looking at me with expression I can't read, but feel like pressure against my skin. The meeting continues. I focus, take actual notes, contribute when asked, play my role perfectly because that's what I do. Be so good at the job that nobody can question why I'm here. When it finally ends 3 hours later, I'm exhausted in ways that have nothing to do with the actual work. Dante dismisses everyone with efficiency that suggests he's done with social interaction for the day. They file out. I start gathering my materials. Stay. One word. Quiet. Absolute. I freeze mid-motion. The door closes behind the last executive. We're alone. He's still sitting at the head of the conference table, looking at me with focus that makes my pulse spike. You weren't paying attention earlier. Not accusatory. Just stating fact. That's not like you. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. I was just distracted. I'm standing now. Putting distance between us like that will help. Won't happen again. Distracted by what? He leans back in his chair, studying me, the meetings, the presentations, or the fact that we woke up this morning in a position I specifically said wouldn't happen. You said we weren't going to talk about that. I'm gripping my notepad too tight. You said we were going back to normal and pretending it didn't happen. I said a lot of things. Doesn't mean they're working. He stands, moves around the table with that predatory grace that always makes me aware of exactly how dangerous he is even when he's being perfectly civil. You've been different all morning. Jumpy, unfocused. I need to know if that's going to be a problem. A problem for what? Your business operations? Your carefully maintained professional distance? I'm getting defensive now. I'm fine. I'm doing my job. What more do you want? I want you to be honest about whether sharing that bed last night affected you the same way it affected me. He's close now. Too close. Because if it did, we need to address it. If it didn't, I need to know that too so I can stop wondering. How did it affect you? The question comes out quieter than I intended. Since we're being honest, his jaw tightens. It made me realize that 6 months of maintaining professional boundaries has been significantly harder than I've been admitting to myself. It made me understand that the reason I've been so careful about not being alone with you has nothing to do with propriety and everything to do with not trusting myself around you. It made me want things I have no business wanting from someone who works for me and is connected to my family in ways that make this impossible. The confession hangs between us, heavy, dangerous. True. I don't understand you. I'm shaking my head. You spend 6 months treating me like I'm invisible except when you need something work-related. Then you admit you want me. Then you pull back and act cold. What am I supposed to do with that? How am I supposed to interpret mixed signals that would confuse a professional cryptographer? You're supposed to stay away from me. He says it like he's trying to convince himself as much as me. You're supposed to recognize that I'm not good for you, that I'm not capable of giving you whatever it is you think you want from me, that I'm broken in ways that don't get fixed by proximity or patience or any other thing women seem to think will transform men like me into acceptable partners. Who said I want you as a partner? I'm getting angry now. You're the one making assumptions about what I want. Maybe I just want you to stop being hot and cold. Maybe I just want consistent professional treatment instead of this emotional whiplash where you're protective 1 minute and glacial the next. I'm protective because you're important to my family. You're Marco's sister. You're married into my family through your brother and my sister. I have obligation to ensure your safety and well-being. That's not personal. That's responsibility. His voice is controlled, but I hear the strain. The glacial part is me trying very hard not to make this personal. When everything about you makes me want to abandon every rule I've set for myself. What rules? I'm searching his face for answers. What are you so afraid of? I'm not afraid, I'm practical. But something flickers in his expression that contradicts the words. I know what I am. I know what I'm capable of and what I'm not. And relationships, feelings, emotional vulnerability, those things aren't in my skill set. I don't do love. Don't do commitment beyond contractual obligations. Don't do any of the things that normal people seem to need from each other. Why not? I'm pushing now. Deliberately. What happened that made you this way? And don't tell me nothing because people aren't born this closed off. Something made you decide that feeling things is weakness. He's quiet for so long, I think he's not going to answer. Then, I was 15 when my parents died. Car accident. Instant. 1 minute I had a family and future, and the next I was standing in a hospital being told I was the adult now. Had to take care of my sister who was 12 and terrified. Had to figure out how to keep us fed and housed when we had nothing. Had to grow up overnight. because nobody else was coming to save us. The rawness in his voice makes my chest ache. Dante, I did what I had to do. Worked for people who paid well and didn't ask questions about my age. Learned skills that aren't legal but are effective. Built connections that turned into opportunities that turned into the empire I run now. And through all of it, I learned that emotions are luxury I can't afford, that love makes you weak, that caring about people gives them power to destroy you. He's looking past me now, at something I can't see. My parents loved each other, loved us, and it didn't save them, didn't protect them, just left us broken and alone when they were gone. So you decided never to love anyone to avoid that pain again? I'm understanding now. You built walls so high nothing can reach you. I built a life where I control the variables, where I don't need anyone, where I can't be destroyed by loss, because I never let myself have anything worth losing. His eyes refocus on me. And then you started working for me, and suddenly I'm aware of someone in ways I haven't been in years, noticing things, caring about things, wanting things, and that's unacceptable because I know how this ends. I know I'm not capable of being what you'd need, and I refuse to start something I can't finish properly. You're assuming I need some perfect relationship with declarations and commitment and all the traditional things. I take a step closer. Maybe I just need honesty. Maybe I just need you to stop punishing both of us for feelings neither of us asked for, but both of us clearly have. You don't know what you're asking for. His voice drops. You think you want me because you see the controlled exterior and interpret it as strength, but underneath that, I'm just someone who's been surviving so long I've forgotten how to actually live. I sleep with women whose names I don't remember. I don't call them after. I don't promise them anything because I have nothing to promise. That's who I am. That's what you'd be getting. And you deserve significantly better than that. Let me decide what I deserve. I'm close enough to touch him now. Stop making decisions for me based on some self-flagellation narrative you've created about being broken beyond repair. Maybe you are broken. Maybe I am too. Maybe we're both just trying to function in a world that's harder than it should be. But that doesn't mean we can't what? He cuts me off. Can't have something real. Can't build something that lasts. You're right. We can't. Because I will disappoint you. I will hurt you. I will be exactly as terrible as I'm warning you I am. And then you'll look at me with regret. And I'll have to live with knowing I destroyed something good because I'm fundamentally incapable of being better. That's a very convenient excuse for not trying. The words come out sharper than I intended. You've convinced yourself you're incapable of love, so you don't have to risk actually attempting it and failing. That's not strength. That's cowardice. His expression goes cold. Careful. You're crossing lines that have consequences. What are you going to do? Fire me? Stop speaking to me? You already barely acknowledge I exist most days. How much worse can you make it? I'm past caring about consequences now. You woke up with your arms around me this morning, and instead of acknowledging that it felt right, you ran away and built more walls. That's not you protecting me. That's you protecting yourself. Maybe it's both. He's not backing down, but something in his posture shifts. Maybe I know that if I let myself want you the way I want to want you, I'll consume you. I don't do things halfway. Don't know how to love someone without destroying them. And you're too important to my family, too integrated into my life, too close to everything that matters for me to risk destroying you just because I can't control myself. I'm not asking you to love me. The clarification feels important. I'm asking you to stop treating me like I'm contagious. Stop being cold on purpose. Stop using other women to prove to yourself that you don't care about me when we both know that's a lie. He goes very still. How did you know about the other women? Because I'm not blind. Because you come back from these business trips smelling like perfume that isn't mine. Because your sister mentioned once that you've been going out more lately, and it doesn't take a genius to figure out why. I'm fighting to keep my voice steady. You sleep with them to punish yourself for wanting me, to prove you're exactly as terrible as you claim. And it works until it doesn't. And then you come back and treat me like I'm furniture again. You're not furniture. His voice is rough. You're the opposite of furniture. You're the thing I can't stop noticing. The person who makes every room feel different just by being in it. The woman who's made me question every rule I've built over 15 years of carefully not feeling things. He closes the remaining distance between us, and that terrifies me more than anything I've faced building this empire, because I know how to handle threats and competition and violence. I don't know how to handle you. So don't handle me. Just be honest with me. I'm looking up at him. Stop running. Stop hiding behind other women and professional distance and self-loathing narratives. Just admit what's happening and let us figure it out together, instead of you making unilateral decisions about what I can handle. And if I can't, if I'm too broken to be what you need, his hand comes up, hovers near my face like he wants to touch me, but won't let himself. Then we deal with that when it happens. But at least we'll have tried, instead of you deciding for both of us that we're doomed before we even start. I lean into his almost touch. I'm not asking for promises you can't keep. I'm just asking you to stop lying about what this is. Stop pretending you don't feel it. Stop making me feel crazy for noticing what's clearly mutual. It is mutual. The admission sounds painful. It's been mutual since the day you started working for me. And I realized that Marco's little sister had grown into someone who makes my brain malfunction just by existing. I've spent 6 months trying to ignore it, trying to maintain boundaries, trying to be professional when all I want is to... He stops, jaw clenching. To what? I need to hear him say it. To cross every line I've drawn. To stop caring about consequences. To take what I want and deal with the fallout later. His eyes are dark, intense. And to stop being the controlled man everyone expects and just be the selfish one who keeps you close regardless of whether it's good for you. Maybe I want you to be selfish. The words are barely a whisper. You don't know what you're saying. But his hand is touching my face now, finally, cupping my cheek with warmth that makes me lean into him involuntarily. You think you want this, but you don't understand what you're asking for. I'm not good. I'm not safe. I'm not the kind of man who's going to make you happy long term. Stop telling me what I want and what I don't understand. I'm done with his self-imposed martyrdom. I'm a grown woman who's capable of making her own decisions. If I decide you're worth the risk, that's my choice, not yours. You don't get to protect me from yourself by making unilateral decisions about what's good for me. Stubborn, but there's something almost fond in his voice now. Determined. There's a difference. I'm not backing down. So what's it going to be? Are we going to keep doing this dance where you want me but won't admit it? Or are we going to be honest about what's happening and figure out how to navigate it like adults? I don't know how to navigate this. The vulnerability in his admission catches me off guard. I know how to run businesses, how to make deals, how to handle threats and eliminate competition. I don't know how to be with someone without ruining them. Don't know how to want someone without consuming them. Don't know how to feel things without those feelings becoming weapons that destroy everything. Then we'll figure it out together. I cover his hand with mine where it's still cupping my face. No promises about forever. No expectations about what this becomes. Just honesty about what it is right now. Can you do that? He's quiet, studying my face like he's looking for something. Then, I can try. But when this goes wrong, when I prove myself to be exactly as incapable of this as I'm warning you I am, don't say I didn't tell you. Deal. I'm smiling despite the seriousness of the conversation. Now can we please stop having emotionally intense conversations in conference rooms and go get lunch like normal people who aren't having a crisis? His expression shifts, something almost resembling a smile. You think we're normal people? No, but we can pretend for an hour. I'm starving, and you're going to buy me expensive food as apology for being emotionally constipated for 6 months. Emotionally constipated. He repeats the words like he's testing them. And that's your professional assessment. That's my personal observation based on extensive exposure to your interpersonal skills, which are exceptional professionally and disastrous personally. I'm pulling away from his touch, even though it costs me. Now feed me before I start making more accurate observations you'll like even less. This is a terrible idea, but he's already moving toward the door, getting involved with you, admitting I want to. All of it, probably. But we're doing it anyway, so you might as well embrace the terrible idea and at least get good Italian food out of it. I'm gathering my things. Unless you're having second thoughts already, in which case we can go back to professional distance and pretend this conversation didn't happen. No second thoughts. Just first, third, and fourth thoughts. All telling me this is a mistake I'm going to regret. He holds the door open. But apparently I'm doing it anyway because you're right. I'm tired of fighting what's clearly inevitable. Was that almost healthy emotional communication? From you? Should I document this for posterity? I'm teasing now, relieved that we're past the heavy part. Don't push it. I'm still capable of returning to emotionally constipated, if you make it a habit of pointing out when I'm being functional. But there's warmth in his voice I haven't heard before. We leave the conference room, walk through the hotel lobby, and I realize that something fundamental has shifted. We're not boss and employee pretending nothing exists between us anymore. We're two people who just admitted there's something, and agreed to stop fighting it, even though neither of us knows where this goes. It's terrifying. It's exciting. It's probably a terrible idea, just like he said, but it's honest. And after 6 months of careful distance and unspoken tension, honest feels like progress worth celebrating, even if we're both probably going to regret it.
I don't know which one is better. A torturous meeting because all she could think about was waking up wrapped in his arms. And he realizes it. When she says, "You're a coward, not strong." The first person to call him a coward and survive, LOL.
Chapter 3. Who She Is. The Presence That Disarms. Lunch is surprisingly normal considering we just had an entire emotional crisis in a conference room. Dante takes me to a small Italian place tucked away from the main tourist areas, the kind of restaurant that doesn't advertise because the people who need to know about it already do. We're seated immediately despite the lunch rush, which tells me he's either been here before or his reputation precedes him in ways that make hostesses very accommodating. You come here often. I'm looking at the menu, which is entirely in Italian, and might as well be hieroglyphics for all I can decipher. When I'm in the city for business, the owner is from my father's hometown. Knew my family before. He stops, redirects, before everything changed. He doesn't ask questions about what I do now. I don't ask questions about how he sources his ingredients. Mutually beneficial arrangement. That's a very diplomatic way of saying you both operate in gray areas and have agreed not to judge each other for it. I set down the menu. What do you recommend for someone who can't read Italian and is trying very hard not to look like a complete tourist? The osso buco is excellent. Also the carbonara if you want something more traditional. He's not looking at his menu. Already knows what he wants. And for someone who's trying not to look like a tourist, you should probably stop staring at everything like it's fascinating. Locals look bored even when they're not. I can't help it. This place is beautiful and smells incredible, and I'm sitting across from my boss who just admitted he wants me after 6 months of acting like I'm invisible. Everything is fascinating right now. I'm grinning despite myself. Also, I'm not local, so pretending to be bored seems like unnecessary effort. You're Marco's sister. That makes you adjacent enough to this world that you should at least pretend competence. But there's amusement in his voice now. Though I suppose the fact that you've survived 6 months working for me without running away screaming suggests you have more tolerance for gray areas than most people. I grew up with Marco. I'm very familiar with gray areas and men who think rules are suggestions that apply to other people. I'm watching him carefully. He never told me what you actually do, just that you're successful and dangerous, and I should treat working for you as legitimate employment, regardless of what I observe. Smart advice. What have you observed? He's looking at me now with that focused attention that makes me feel like the only person in the room. That you run multiple businesses with efficiency that suggests either exceptional organizational skills or a team of people who are terrified of disappointing you. That you take calls at odd hours in languages I don't speak about topics that make your expression go cold. That people defer to you in ways that aren't just professional respect, but actual fear disguised as politeness. I pause. And that you're very good at compartmentalizing violence and civility in ways that should probably disturb me, but mostly just make me curious about what you're protecting by keeping everything so controlled. You're observant. Not quite approval, but something close. Most people see the surface and assume that's all there is. You see the mechanisms underneath, and instead of being afraid, you get curious. That's either very brave or very foolish. Probably both. I've been told I have poor self-preservation instincts when it comes to dangerous men. I'm thinking about my brother, about the world he inhabits. Growing up with Marco meant learning early that danger isn't always obvious. Sometimes it's the quiet men who are most lethal, the ones who don't need to prove anything because everyone already knows. You're describing your brother very accurately, also describing me. His expression is unreadable. Does that bother you? Knowing what we are. It bothers me that you think I'm naive enough not to have figured it out months ago. I lean back as the waiter approaches. I'm not some innocent civilian who stumbled into this world accidentally. I'm Marco Rossi's sister. I've been adjacent to organized crime since birth. The only difference is I chose not to participate directly. Doesn't mean I'm blind to it. Dante orders for both of us in rapid Italian that sounds musical and authoritative simultaneously. The waiter nods and disappears with efficiency that suggests he knows better than to linger. Your brother know you're this perceptive about the family business. He's studying me again. Marco knows I'm not stupid. Whether he knows I'm specifically perceptive about the details is a different question. We have an understanding. He doesn't ask me to participate in anything illegal. I don't ask him for details about things I don't want to be able to testify about if anything ever goes wrong. I'm matter of fact about this. It's worked well for 26 years. You're 26. He says it like he's filing away information. I thought you were younger. Because I look young or because you've been trying very hard not to think about my age in relation to yours? I'm teasing now. How old are you anyway? Marco's never said, and I've been too proud to ask. 32. Old enough to know better than to get involved with my best friend's sister who works for me and is connected to my family in approximately 17 different ways that make this complicated. But he's almost smiling. Young enough to apparently do it anyway, despite excellent reasons not to. 32 isn't old. It's just experienced. There's a difference. The waiter returns with wine I didn't see Dante order, and complicated is relative. My entire life has been complicated. Adding one more complication barely registers. Tell me about your life. He pours wine with the same controlled precision he applies to everything. The parts that aren't connected to Marco or my family. The parts that are just yours. The question catches me off guard. And why? Because I've spent 6 months knowing you as Marco's sister and my employee. I'd like to know you as yourself. The person underneath those roles. He slides a glass toward me, unless that's too personal for a lunch that's supposed to be normal. Nothing about this is normal, but I'll answer anyway. I take a sip. It's excellent wine. Of course it is. I went to university for literature, wanted to teach, spent 2 years after graduation working at a private school until I realized that dealing with entitled teenagers and their more entitled parents was slowly destroying my will to live. Quit. Spent 6 months trying to figure out what I actually wanted to do. Marco suggested working for you, said you needed someone competent and trustworthy, and I needed employment that wouldn't bore me to death. And has it bored you to death? He's genuinely asking. No. It's been the opposite of boring. Challenging in ways I didn't expect. You're demanding but fair. Complicated but consistent. You expect excellence, but you're also the best boss I've ever had in terms of actually respecting my time and capabilities. I'm being honest now. The only difficult part has been pretending I don't notice you. That's been exhausting. You've noticed me. Not a question. A statement that carries weight. Since day one. Kind of hard not to when you're tall and intense and occupying the same space. But I'm professional enough to keep it to myself and do my job without making it weird. I meet his eyes directly. Until last night, when the hotel forced the issue, and apparently neither of us is good enough at pretending anymore. Last night was a mistake that I don't regret. He's choosing words carefully. The situation was a mistake. Being that close to you was inevitable given the circumstances. What I regret is that it took forced proximity for me to admit what I should have addressed months ago, which is, I want to hear him say it again, need the confirmation that I didn't imagine this morning's conversation, that I'm attracted to you in ways that are inappropriate given our professional relationship and family connections, that I've been fighting it because I thought fighting it was the right thing to do, that I'm done fighting it because you're right. We're both adults who can navigate complicated situations if we're honest about them. He pauses, and that I'm still terrified this is going to end badly, but I'm apparently willing to risk it anyway. That's very romantic in a completely emotionally constipated way. I'm grinning now. You should write greeting cards. I'm attracted to you but convinced I'll ruin everything. Let's date anyway. Hallmark would eat that up. You're making fun of me, but there's warmth in his accusation. I'm making fun of the situation. You're just collateral damage. I'm feeling lighter than I have in months. But yes, for the record, I'm also attracted to you in inappropriate ways. I've also been fighting it because I thought that was the professional thing to do. And I'm also terrified but willing to see where this goes, as long as we're honest with each other about expectations and boundaries. What are your expectations? He's back to serious now. I need to know what you're hoping for, so I can be clear about what I can and can't offer. I expect honesty. I expect you to stop sleeping with other women to prove points to yourself. I expect that when you're pulling away or shutting down, you tell me instead of just disappearing emotionally. I'm ticking off points. I don't expect promises about forever. Don't expect you to suddenly become emotionally available in ways you've spent 15 years avoiding. Don't expect perfection or romance or any traditional relationship milestones unless we both decide we want them. That's remarkably reasonable. He looks almost suspicious. Most women I've encountered want significantly more than that. I'm not most women, and you're not most men. We're both people who understand that life is complicated, and relationships are work. And sometimes the best you can do is be honest, and try not to hurt each other unnecessarily. I'm watching his reaction. Does that work for you? Or do you need me to have higher maintenance expectations so you can fulfill your narrative about being terrible at this? You're calling me out. There's something almost fond in his observation. Someone has to. You've been operating under the assumption that you're damaged beyond repair for so long that you've forgotten to check if it's actually true, or just a convenient excuse. I'm not backing down. Maybe you are terrible at relationships. Maybe you will disappoint me, but maybe you won't. Maybe we'll figure out how to make this work despite all the complications. Won't know unless we try. When did you get so wise about relationships? He's genuinely curious. I'm not wise about relationships. I've had exactly 2 serious boyfriends, and both ended badly for different reasons. But I've watched enough people self-sabotage out of fear to recognize the pattern when I see it. I'm thinking about my brother, about the way he avoided my sister-in-law for months, before finally admitting he loved her. You Moretti men are all the same, convinced you're too dangerous or too broken or too something to deserve happiness. So you push away anything good until someone forces the issue and makes you deal with your feelings like adults. You're comparing me to your brother. He sounds amused and offended simultaneously. You're his best friend. You've known each other since you were teenagers. You built your empires together. Of course you have similar emotional damage and coping mechanisms. I'm grinning at his expression. Don't look so surprised. It's not exactly subtle. The closed-off exterior, the overprotectiveness toward family, the conviction that love is weakness. Marco had all the same issues until Isabella refused to let him keep pushing her away. Isabella is exceptional. She's also significantly more patient than most people would be with Marco's nonsense. There's affection in his voice when he mentions my sister-in-law. You think you're going to be that patient with me? I think I'm going to call you on your nonsense when you're being ridiculous and give you space when you need it, and trust that you're capable of figuring this out if you stop convincing yourself you can't. I'm serious now. But I'm not going to chase you or beg you to choose me, or put up with being treated like an option. So if you're going to do this, actually do it. Don't half commit and then sabotage it when things get real. You're setting boundaries. He sounds approving. Good. I respect that more than desperation. I'm glad you respect it because those are my terms. Take them or leave them, but don't agree, and then violate them when you get scared. I'm holding his gaze. And I deserve better than that. And you're capable of better than that, even if you don't believe it yet. The food arrives. Perfect timing. Conversation shifts to safer topics. The meal, the city, neutral things that don't require emotional vulnerability, but something has settled between us. An understanding, an agreement to try this despite all the logical reasons we shouldn't. We're finishing dessert when his phone rings. He glances at it, expression shifting to something harder. I need to take this. He's already standing. Work emergency. Give me 5 minutes. He walks away, answers in Italian. I watch him pace near the window, see his posture change, see the controlled man become something sharper. This is the Dante that people fear, the one who makes decisions that have consequences most people don't want to think about. When he returns, his expression is carefully neutral, but I can see the tension in his shoulders. Everything okay? I'm concerned, despite knowing I probably shouldn't ask. Define okay. He signals for the check. Situation that requires my attention. Nothing you need to worry about, but we should probably head back to the hotel. I have calls to make and arrangements to handle. Dangerous arrangements? I'm trying to gauge how worried I should be. Potentially. But nothing that affects you directly. Just business that needs managing. He's already paying. Standing, moving with efficiency that suggests his mind is elsewhere. Come on, I'll explain in the car. We leave the restaurant, the warmth from lunch evaporating as I watch him shift fully into boss mode. This is the complication. The reality of what he does, the danger that's always lurking underneath the controlled exterior. In the car, he makes 3 calls in rapid Italian, each one shorter and more clipped than the last. I don't understand the words, but I understand the tone. Something's wrong. Something that requires the version of Dante who built an empire through methods that aren't discussed in polite company. When we reach the hotel, he turns to me, expression serious. I need you to stay in the room tonight. Don't leave. Don't answer the door for anyone except me. Don't order room service. Just stay put until I tell you it's safe. What's happening? Real concern now. Competitor making moves that require response. Nothing you're involved in, but I'm not taking chances with your safety. His hand finds my face. Brief touch. Promise me you'll stay in the room. Promise me you won't do anything stupid like trying to help or investigate or any of the brave, foolish things you'd normally do. I promise. I'm searching his expression for clues about how dangerous this actually is. But you'll be careful too, right? You'll come back. I'll come back. He says it with certainty that should be reassuring, but somehow isn't. Lock the door behind me. Don't open it for anyone. I'll text you when I'm on my way up. Then he's gone, leaving me alone in a hotel room trying not to panic about what kind of situation requires this level of precaution. Trying not to think about the fact that the man I just agreed to try dating with is currently handling something dangerous enough that he's worried about collateral damage reaching me. This is the reality. This is what being involved with Dante Moretti actually means. Not just the chemistry and the complicated feelings, but the danger, the violence, the world he operates in that doesn't follow normal rules. And I just promised to stay put and trust him to come back. I hope I didn't just make a terrible mistake. Chapter 4. Cold on purpose. He doesn't come back that night. I wait in the hotel room like he told me to, watching the clock tick past midnight, past 2 a.m., past the point where waiting stops being patience and starts being fear. My phone stays silent except for one text at 11 p.m. that just says, handling it, stay put, safe, safe. What a relative term when the man who promised to come back is somewhere doing things I can't let myself think too hard about, because thinking about them makes my chest tight with anxiety. I'm not entitled to feel after knowing him for 6 months and dating him for approximately 12 hours. I fall asleep sometime around 3, still fully dressed on top of the covers because getting comfortable feels like giving up on him returning tonight. When I wake up, it's 7 a.m., and there's a note on the nightstand in his sharp handwriting. Had to leave early. Car will take you to the airport at noon. See you back in the city. D. That's it. No explanation. No apology. No acknowledgement that he disappeared for an entire night after telling me to stay put and wait. Just clinical instructions delivered with the emotional warmth of a business memo. I stare at the note trying to decide if I'm angry or hurt, or just disappointed that we lasted exactly 1 day before he reverted to the closed-off version of himself I thought we'd moved past yesterday. The car arrives precisely at noon. Professional driver who doesn't make conversation. Drops me at the airport. I fly home alone on the company jet, trying very hard not to spiral about what this means. Whether yesterday was real, or just temporary honesty that evaporated the moment real life intruded. Back in the city, I go straight to my apartment, take a shower, try to wash away the feeling that I just got played by a man who warned me he was incapable of this, and then proved himself right at the first opportunity. My phone rings. Marco, of course. Brother radar that activates whenever I'm having a crisis. How was the trip? He sounds casual, but I know him well enough to hear the underlying concern. Productive. Meetings went well. I'm back now. I'm not telling him about Dante. Not telling him about the hotel room, or the conversation, or the night Dante disappeared. Why are you calling? Can't a brother check on his sister without ulterior motive? But he's a terrible liar. Also, Dante called. Said you did excellent work on the trip. Wanted to make sure I knew you were handling the job well. Dante called Marco to compliment my work performance. Of course he did. Professional distance reestablished. Lines redrawn. Everything back to normal like yesterday never happened. That's nice of him. I'm keeping my voice neutral. Anything else? You sound weird. What happened? Marco's protective instincts activating. Did Dante do something? Say something. I swear to God, if he was inappropriate, he was perfectly professional. Nothing happened. I'm just tired from traveling. The lies taste bitter. I'm gonna go. Need to catch up on sleep. Okay, but Gia, if something's wrong, nothing's wrong. I'll see you Sunday for dinner. Tell Isabella I'll bring dessert. I hang up before he can push harder. I don't hear from Dante for 3 days. 3 days of radio silence, except for work emails that are clipped and professional and completely devoid of any warmth or acknowledgement that we had multiple emotionally significant conversations 48 hours ago. When I finally see him again, it's Monday morning in the office. He's already there when I arrive at 8, sitting behind his desk looking like he's been there for hours. He glances up when I enter. Expression completely neutral. Good morning. I need the quarterly reports by noon. Also, schedule a meeting with the Eastern Territory managers for Friday. Conference room B, 10 a.m. Back to pure business. And call Marco. He's been asking about some contract I apparently promised to look at and haven't. Handle it. Good morning to you too. I'm setting down my bag with more force than necessary. Anything else? Coffee? Soul-crushing emotional distance? More instructions delivered without basic human courtesy. His jaw tightens. I'm busy. Can we do this later? Do what later? Have a conversation like adults. Acknowledge that we had an entire emotional breakthrough 4 days ago that you're now pretending didn't happen. I'm not letting this go. Or should I just accept that you've reverted to being cold and distant and treat Friday like a fever dream I imagined? I'm not cold. I'm focused on work, but he won't look at me. We had conversations. I acknowledged them. Now we're back to professional environment where those conversations aren't relevant. Not relevant. I repeat the words like they're toxic. The part where you admitted you wanted me isn't relevant. The part where we agreed to try figuring this out isn't relevant. Or is it just convenient to pretend none of that matters now that you've had time to talk yourself out of it? I haven't talked myself out of anything. I've had 3 days of handling a situation that required my complete attention. I'm exhausted. I'm behind on work, and I don't have bandwidth for emotional conversations before 9 a.m. He's finally looking at me, and there's something in his expression that might be guilt. Can we please just focus on work today and deal with everything else later? When is later? When you've had time to build more walls. When you've convinced yourself this was a mistake and I'm better off if you push me away. I'm angrier than I should be, because anger is easier than hurt. This is exactly what you do. Get close. Get scared. Pull back. Pretend nothing happened. I watched you do it for 6 months before Friday. I'm not watching you do it again now that I know what it is. I'm not pulling back. I'm managing priorities. There's a difference, but his voice lacks conviction. Really? Because from here, it looks exactly like pulling back. You disappeared for an entire night without explanation. Came back and left before I woke up. Sent me home alone. Didn't call for 3 days. And now you're acting like I'm being unreasonable for expecting basic human communication. I'm gripping the edge of his desk. If you've changed your mind about this, just say so. Don't make me feel crazy for expecting you to follow through on things you said. I haven't changed my mind. He stands abruptly, comes around the desk. I've been dealing with a threat that almost got violent. I've been managing fallout that required constant attention. I've been trying to keep you safe by keeping you separate from the mess. That's not pulling back. That's protecting you. I don't need you to protect me from reality. I need you to communicate with me about what's happening so I'm not left wondering if you're alive or dead or just decided I'm not worth the effort. My voice cracks. One text. That's all it would have taken. One actual conversation instead of clinical instructions. But you couldn't even manage that, because this is what you do when things get real. You shut down and retreat and make it impossible for anyone to actually reach you. You're right. The admission catches me off guard. I handled it badly. I reverted to old patterns of dealing with stress by compartmentalizing everything and shutting people out. I'm sorry, that wasn't fair to you. No, it wasn't. I'm still angry, but the apology takes some edge off. You can't do that. You can't promise to try and then disappear the first time things get complicated. That's not trying. That's sabotaging before you even start. I know. He runs his hand through his hair. First sign of actual agitation. I know I did exactly what you told me not to do. I know I proved you right about my patterns. I know I'm terrible at this, but I didn't pull back because I changed my mind about wanting you. I pulled back because I was dealing with something dangerous, and my instinct was to keep you as far from it as possible. And by shutting me out completely and making me wonder if Friday was just temporary insanity, you regretted the moment reality intervened. I'm searching his face for truth. That's not protection. That's avoidance. You're right. Again, he looks exhausted now. Actually exhausted instead of just controlled. I don't know how to balance this. How to be involved with you while also handling the parts of my life that are dangerous. My instinct is to separate completely. Keep you in a box labeled safe and civilian, and don't contaminate that with anything from the other parts. But you're right, that's not sustainable if we're actually trying. So what are you going to do differently? I need concrete answers. Well, because I can't do this if every time something dangerous happens you disappear and then come back acting like nothing's wrong. That's not a relationship. That's just you deciding when I'm allowed to exist in your life based on your comfort level. I'm going to communicate better. Tell you when I'm handling something instead of just vanishing. Not expect you to be okay with radio silence just because I'm used to operating alone. He's close now. Close enough that I can see the shadows under his eyes that suggest he actually hasn't slept. And I'm going to stop punishing both of us for my inability to handle feelings like a functional adult. That's a start. I'm softening despite myself. But Dante, you look terrible. When's the last time you actually slept? Friday night, in the chair, which doesn't count as actual sleep. His hand comes up, traces my jawline with exhaustion that makes the touch gentler. I've been running on adrenaline and coffee for 3 days handling crisis management. I'm not at my best right now. What happened with the competitor? I'm curious despite knowing I probably shouldn't be. Someone thought they could make moves on my territory while I was out of the city. They were wrong. I corrected their misunderstanding in ways that won't require further correction. His voice is flat, clinical. This is the dangerous Dante. No one died. Several people were encouraged to relocate their operations elsewhere. The message was received. Crisis resolved. You say that so casually, like threatening people into leaving town is just another Tuesday for you. I should be disturbed, should be afraid, should recognize this as red flag. Does that bother you? The violence? The threats? It's what I do, what I've always done. I stopped feeling guilty about it years ago when I realized guilt doesn't change necessity. He's watching my reaction carefully. Does it bother you, knowing what I'm capable of when necessary? I don't know. Honest answer. Theoretically, yes. In practice, I'm too relieved you're back and safe to process the moral implications of your crisis management techniques. I'm studying his face. You need to sleep. Actually sleep. Not cat naps between phone calls. I need to catch up on work. I've been gone for 3 days. Things pile up, but he sounds less convinced than he probably wants to. Things can wait a few hours while you get actual rest. You're going to make mistakes if you keep operating on no sleep, and that's dangerous in your line of work. I'm using logic because emotion clearly isn't working. Go home. Sleep. Come back tomorrow actually functional instead of running on fumes and stubbornness. You're very bossy for someone who works for me, but there's warmth in the observation. Someone has to be. You're clearly incapable of basic self-care. I'm pushing him toward the door. Go. Sleep. I'll handle the quarterly reports and reschedule anything urgent. The Eastern Territory managers can wait until next week. Nothing is so important it can't survive you being unconscious for 8 hours. You're managing me. He sounds amused and tired. Taking charge. Being competent. It's very attractive and also very annoying because you're right, and I don't want to admit it. Get used to it. If we're doing this, I'm not watching you destroy yourself trying to prove you don't need anyone. I'm opening his office door. Now go. Before I call Marco and tell him you're being self-destructive and need intervention, you wouldn't, but he's moving toward the exit. Try me. I have no problem using your best friend as weapon if it means keeping you alive and functional. I'm completely serious. Go home. Sleep. Text me when you wake up so I know you're still breathing. Those are my terms. Bossy, but he's almost smiling. Fine. I'll go. I'll sleep. I'll text you. But we're continuing this conversation about boundaries and communication when I'm actually capable of forming coherent thoughts. Looking forward to it. I'm watching him leave. And Dante, thank you for the apology, for acknowledging you handled it badly. That matters. He pauses at the door, looks back. I meant what I said Friday, about wanting to try. I'm just very bad at actually doing it. Be patient with me while I figure out how not to sabotage this every time something stressful happens. I can be patient, but I won't be a doormat. There's a difference. I'm holding his gaze. Now go before you fall asleep standing up, and I have to explain to building security why my boss is unconscious in the hallway. He leaves. Finally, I watch him go and feel something settle in my chest. We fought. He apologized. We communicated like adults instead of him just shutting down and me accepting it. That's progress. Small progress, but progress nonetheless. My phone buzzes 6 hours later. Text from Dante. Slept for 5 hours. Woke up. Realized I'm still terrible at this, but willing to keep trying if you are. Also, you were right about needing sleep. Functional human now instead of zombie. Thank you for forcing the issue. I smile despite myself. Type back. Anytime. Someone has to keep you from self-destructing. Might as well be me since I'm apparently invested in your continued survival now. His response is immediate. Lucky me. Having someone invested in my survival who's also not afraid to call me on my nonsense. Should probably be more grateful than I am. You should. I'm delightful and patient and willing to put up with your emotional constipation. That's rare. I'm grinning now. Noted. Dinner tomorrow. Actual date. Not business. Not family obligation. Just us figuring out how to do this like normal people. We're not normal people. But yes, dinner tomorrow. You're paying since you're rich, and I'm your employee who deserves compensation for managing your self-destructive tendencies. Deal. Pick you up at 7. Wear something nice. I'm taking you somewhere that requires effort. Bossy. I send back his own word. You like it. He's right, but I'm not admitting it. I go back to work feeling lighter than I have in days. We're trying. Messily. Imperfectly. With setbacks and communication failures and patterns, we're both fighting, but we're trying. And for now,
She demanded that he sleep like a functional adult. He obeyed. Cute texts afterward. Date scheduled. You're delicious and patient. Her. You're paying because you're rich, and I deserve compensation. To me, sarcasm as a love language is elite, and theirs is perfect, in my humble opinion. Did you like them? Let me know, please.
Chapter 5. The Failure in Control. Dinner is perfect until it isn't. Dante picks me up at 7 exactly, looking devastating in a dark suit that probably costs more than my monthly rent, and takes me to a restaurant I've only read about in magazines that profile places normal people can't afford. We're seated immediately at a private table near the windows overlooking the city, and for 2 hours I almost forget that dating him comes with complications beyond the usual relationship dynamics. We talk. Actually, talk. About books and music and childhood memories that don't involve trauma or loss. About his sister Sophia and her husband, my brother, and how they're disgustingly happy in ways that make us both uncomfortable and envious simultaneously. About my failed teaching career and his complicated feelings about the empire he's built. Normal things, human things. The kind of conversation that makes me remember he's not just the dangerous, controlled man everyone fears, but also someone who has opinions about Italian neo-realism cinema and thinks pineapple on pizza is a crime against humanity. You're staring. He's amused. Relaxed in ways I rarely see. I'm appreciating. There's a difference. I'm smiling over my wine. You're different tonight. Less guarded. It's nice seeing you like this. Like what? Almost human. But there's warmth in his voice. I'm trying. The whole being open and present thing. Turns out it's less terrifying than I thought it would be when it's with you. I'm honored. Truly. Not many people get to see Dante Moretti relaxed enough to debate film theory and confess his pizza opinions. I'm teasing, but also genuine. Though I should warn you that defending pineapple on pizza is a hill I'm willing to die on. Absolutely not. I refuse to be romantically involved with someone who has such objectively terrible taste. He's trying to look serious. Failing. This is a deal breaker. We're done. I'll have my people draft the separation papers. Your people? What people? You have breakup lawyers on retainer? I'm laughing now. Actually laughing. That's the most ridiculous and somehow completely on-brand thing I've ever heard. I have lawyers for everything. Breakups. Contracts. Hostile takeovers. Pizza-related relationship dissolution. Very comprehensive legal team. His smile is genuine now, unguarded. Though I'd prefer not to use them in this case. Despite your horrifying food preferences, I'm finding you surprisingly tolerable. Tolerable. Wow, the romance. Be still my beating heart. I'm clutching my chest dramatically. You really know how to make a woman feel special. I'm working on it. Give me time. Eventually, I might graduate to calling you pleasant or even moderately enjoyable company. He's reaching across the table, taking my hand. For now, you'll have to settle for tolerable. And the fact that I'm trying very hard not to sabotage this despite every instinct telling me I'm going to mess it up eventually. Self-fulfilling prophecy. If you keep expecting to mess it up, you'll subconsciously make it happen just to prove yourself right. I'm running my thumb over his knuckles. What if instead, you just tried trusting that we're both competent adults capable of navigating complicated situations without everything imploding? Revolutionary concept. trust instead of assuming disaster. Should probably write that down. But he's looking at me with something soft in his expression. You're good for me, making me question patterns I've had for 15 years. It's uncomfortable and also kind of necessary. I'm glad you're uncomfortable. Means you're growing. Discomfort is where actual change happens. I'm squeezing his hand. Now tell me more about why you think Fellini is overrated. I need to know if this is another deal breaker, or just a difference of opinion we can work through. We're debating Italian cinema when his phone rings. He glances at it, expression shifting immediately from relaxed to sharp. I need to take this. Of course. I'm already pulling my hand back, watching him transform from the man having dinner with me to the man who runs an empire that operates in shadows. He answers in Italian, voice clipped, controlled, but I watch his expression darken with each passing second, see his jaw tighten, see his free hand curl into a fist against the table. Something's wrong, very wrong. The call ends. He's already standing. We need to leave. Now. What's happening? I'm gathering my things, following his lead even though fear is starting to creep up my spine. Situation at one of my properties. Someone made a move they shouldn't have. I need to handle it immediately. He's throwing cash on the table. More than necessary. Not counting. Just moving. Cars outside. I'm taking you home first. I can get a cab. You should go handle whatever emergency this is. I'm trying to be reasonable, even though part of me wants to demand answers about what kind of situation requires this level of urgency. Not negotiable. I'm taking you home, making sure you're safe. Then I'm handling this. His hand finds my lower back, guiding me toward the exit with controlled urgency. Don't argue. Just trust me. We're in his car within minutes. He's driving with precision that suggests he's operating on autopilot, while his brain is already solving whatever problem the phone call presented. I want to ask questions, want to know what's happening, but the set of his jaw tells me now isn't the time. We're halfway to my apartment when his phone rings again. He answers on the first ring, listens, says something sharp in Italian that makes the person on the other end talk faster. Then he's turning the car, not toward my apartment, toward somewhere else. Change of plans. Can't take you home. Not safe. You're coming with me. His voice is absolute. No room for discussion. Coming with you where? What's happening? Real concern now. Dante, you're scaring me. Someone targeted one of my warehouses. Tried to send a message by going after my operations. They didn't expect me to have people there tonight. There was a confrontation. Shots fired. One of my guys is injured, and the idiots who did it mentioned your name specifically. His hands are tight on the steering wheel. They know about you. Know you're connected to me, which means leaving you alone right now is the opposite of safe. My blood runs cold. They mentioned me by name. Said they'd send a message through Moretti's new girlfriend if I didn't back off their territory, which tells me they've been watching. They know about the hotel, about dinner tonight, about us. His voice is ice. So no, you're not going home alone. You're staying with me where I can ensure nothing happens to you while I handle this. Handle this how? I'm trying to process what he's saying. What are you going to do? What I always do when someone threatens what's mine. Make sure they understand the consequences of that mistake. He pulls into an underground garage I don't recognize. Private. Secure. Come on, upstairs. There are people waiting who'll stay with you while I deal with this. We take an elevator to a penthouse apartment I've never seen. Modern, expensive. Clearly his based on the minimal decoration and the fact that he has keys. There are 2 men already there. Large. Armed. Professional in ways that make it clear they're not just decorative security. Stay here. Stay with them. Don't leave. Don't answer the door. Don't do anything except wait for me to come back. He's giving orders now, not asking. I'll be back as soon as this is handled. Few hours at most. You're just leaving me here with armed strangers. I'm not panicking. Not yet, but close. What am I supposed to do while you're gone doing dangerous things? You're supposed to stay alive and safe. That's all I need from you right now. His hands frame my face. I'm sorry. I'm sorry this is happening. I'm sorry I brought you into this. But I promise you're safe here. These men work for me. They'll protect you with their lives if necessary. Trust that even if you can't trust anything else, I trust you. I'm just terrified something's going to happen to you while you're out there making sure nothing happens to me. The honesty spills out. Be careful. Please, come back. I will. He kisses me. Hard. Quick. I always do. Now stay here. Let me handle this. Don't do anything brave or stupid. Just wait. Then he's gone, leaving me alone with 2 armed men who introduce themselves as Luca and Antonio in heavily accented English, and then proceed to position themselves by the windows and door like they're expecting an invasion. I sit on the couch trying to process the last 30 minutes. We were having dinner, laughing about pizza toppings, and now I'm in a safe house with bodyguards because someone threatened me to get to Dante. This is the reality. This is what his world actually looks like when it stops being theoretical danger and becomes concrete threat. And I'm sitting here waiting to find out if the man I'm dating is going to come back or if I'm about to learn exactly how violent his crisis management techniques actually are. 3 hours pass, each one slower than the last. Luca makes coffee, I don't drink. Antonio checks his phone constantly. Neither of them talks to me beyond basic courtesies. They're professionals. This is a job. I'm a package they're guarding until pickup. My phone rings at 11 p.m. Unknown number. I almost don't answer. Do anyway because sitting here in silence is driving me crazy. Hello? Miss Rossi. Male voice. Unfamiliar. Accent I can't place. We need to talk about your boyfriend. Every nerve in my body goes on alert. Who is this? Someone who wants to help you understand what you've gotten yourself into. Dante Moretti isn't who you think he is. He's dangerous. Violent, responsible for things that would horrify you if you knew the details, and now you're a target because of him. We can offer protection, get you out safely, away from his world before you become collateral damage. You're the ones who threatened me. Not a question. Statement. You're trying to use me to get to him, and now you're calling trying to what? Convince me to betray him. We're trying to save your life. He won't. He'll use you until you're no longer useful, and then you'll be disposed of like everyone else who gets close to him. That's what he does. That's who he is. The voice is reasonable, calm, like he's explaining simple facts. We have proof. Documentation of his operations, evidence of things he's done that would make you sick. We can show you, help you escape before it's too late. Let me be very clear about something. My voice is steady despite the fear coursing through me. I'm not interested in your proof or your protection or anything else you're selling. You threatened me. You put me in danger. You think calling and trying to manipulate me into doubting him is going to work. You don't know me at all. You're making a mistake. The voice hardens. He's going to get you killed. If not today, then eventually. That's the price of being with someone like him. You become liability, and he eliminates liabilities. Then I guess I'll take my chances. I hang up, hands shaking. Luca is beside me immediately. Who was that? Someone trying to convince me Dante's going to get me killed, and I should accept their protection instead. I'm staring at my phone. They have proof, apparently. Documentation. Want me to see evidence of what he's done. They're trying to divide you. Classic manipulation tactic. Make you doubt him. Make you vulnerable to their influence. Luca's voice is professional. Don't engage. Don't respond. Tell Dante when he returns. Let him handle it. Tell me what? Dante's voice from the doorway makes me jump. He's back, covered in blood that I really hope isn't his, looking lethal and exhausted and alive. You're bleeding. I'm moving toward him before my brain catches up. Are you hurt? Do you need a hospital? Not my blood. I'm fine. What happened? He's looking between me and Luca. What do I need to handle? Someone called. Unknown number. Tried to convince me you're dangerous and I should accept their protection. I'm examining him for injuries despite his assurance he's fine. He offered proof and documentation and everything. His expression goes absolutely dark. They called you directly, while you were under my protection, in my safe house. His voice is deadly quiet. Did they threaten you? No, just tried manipulation. Said you'd get me killed eventually, and they were trying to save me from becoming collateral damage. I'm meeting his eyes. I told them I'd take my chances with you, and hung up. Something flickers across his face. Surprise, maybe. Or relief. You defended me. To people trying to turn you against me. Of course I did. You think some random threat is going to make me doubt you after you just spent 3 hours handling a crisis specifically to keep me safe. I'm almost offended. I'm not that easy to manipulate. No, you're not. He pulls me against him despite the blood. You're loyal and brave and trusting me when you have every reason not to. That's either incredibly stupid or incredibly generous. And I can't decide which. Probably both. I've been told I have terrible judgment about dangerous men. I'm wrapping my arms around him, not caring about the blood, just needing to confirm he's actually here and intact. Did you handle it? The situation? Handled. Message delivered. Won't be an issue again. His voice is flat. Final. The people who threatened you understand now that touching you has consequences they're not willing to face. You're safe. This is over. What does handled mean? What did you do? I need to know. Need to understand what level of violence he's capable of. Nothing you need details about. Just know that the threat is neutralized and you're protected. He's pulling back, looking at me with something intense in his expression. I lost control tonight. Completely. Someone said your name is a threat, and I stopped being rational. The Empire saw. My people saw. Everyone knows now that you're the weakness. The point where I stop being calculated and become something else entirely. Is that a problem? I'm searching his face. It's a reality we'll have to navigate, but right now I don't care. Right now I'm just relieved you're safe and still here and didn't run the moment things got dangerous. His forehead touches mine. I'm sorry for bringing this into your life, for making you a target, for all of it. I'm not sorry. I'm terrified, but not sorry. There's a difference. I'm holding his face. Now go shower. You're covered in blood. Then we're going to talk about what comes next. and how we handle the fact that apparently everyone in your world knows I'm important to you now. Bossy, but he's smiling. I like it. You better, because I'm not going anywhere. You're stuck with me now. Blood and threats and dangerous men and
Perfect dinner arguing about Fellini and pineapple on pizza. She defends it. He's horrified. And you? Team Isabella or Team Dante? Tell me in the comments. That way, I'll know you made it all the way here.
Chapter 6. The night that wasn't supposed to happen. We don't leave the penthouse that night. Dante showers for 20 minutes while I sit on his couch trying to process everything that just happened. The phone call, the threats, the blood. The casual way he said the situation was handled, like neutralizing people who threatened me, is just another Tuesday evening activity. When he emerges, he's wearing sleep pants and nothing else. And I'm trying very hard not to notice the scars that map his torso like a history of violence. I don't fully understand. He catches me looking. Occupational hazards. 15 years of building an empire through methods that aren't OSHA compliant. He says it like he's commenting on the weather. Most of them are old. Few are recent. None of them matter. They all matter. I'm standing now, moving toward him before I can think better of it. Each one is a story. A moment where something could have gone differently, where you could have not come back. But I did come back, every time. I'm very good at surviving. His hand catches mine before I can touch the scar on his ribs. You don't want to know the stories behind them. Trust me. What if I do? What if I want to know all of it? The good and the terrible and everything in between. I'm looking up at him. You keep trying to protect me from reality, but I'm already in it. Already a target. Already involved. Might as well know what I'm actually dealing with. He's quiet for a long moment. Then he releases my hand. Steps back. Fine. You want stories? This one, he touches the scar on his ribs, is from when I was 17. Rival family decided the best way to send a message to my father's old associates was to target his orphaned son. 3 men. 1 knife. I survived. They didn't. That's when I learned that mercy is expensive and violence is effective. My breath catches, but I don't look away. Next one. This one, he touches his shoulder, is from when I was 22. Business deal gone wrong. Partner decided he'd rather kill me than honor our agreement. He shot. I didn't die. He did eventually. Slowly. That's when I learned to verify loyalty before trusting it. And this one, I'm touching a scar near his collarbone before he can stop me. Last year, someone thought they could take territory that wasn't theirs. Sent a message through violence. I returned the message with interest. This is what happens when you don't move fast enough and your opponent has better aim than you anticipated. His voice is completely flat. I was in the hospital for 3 days. Told everyone it was the flu. Only Sophia knew the truth. She was terrified. Made me promise to be more careful. I promised. Lied. Continued doing exactly what I've always done. Why? The question comes out broken. Why keep doing this? Why not just step back? Let someone else handle the dangerous parts. You have money, power. You could delegate the violence to people who don't have a sister who loves them. Because if I step back, someone else takes over, and they won't care about the rules I've established. They won't care about collateral damage or innocent civilians or any of the things I actually do care about despite what people think. He's looking at me now with intensity that steals breath. I built this empire to protect Sophia, to make sure we never went hungry again, to ensure no one could ever hurt us the way we were hurt when our parents died. And now it's bigger than that. Now it's hundreds of people who depend on me, families who need the income, operations that keep this city running in ways the legitimate world doesn't want to acknowledge, but absolutely needs. That's a very noble way of describing organized crime, but I'm not judging, just stating fact. It's the truth. I'm not a good man. I do terrible things, but I do them with purpose. I don't hurt civilians. I don't involve innocents. I don't create collateral damage unless absolutely necessary. And I keep worse people from operating in my territory because they don't share those scruples. He pauses. That's what you're involved with now. Not some romanticized version of danger. The actual reality of someone who's killed people and will do it again if necessary to protect what's his. I know, and I do. Have since the moment he told me to stay in the hotel room. I'm not naive enough to think you're some misunderstood anti-hero. I know what you are, what you do. The question is whether you can accept that I know, and I'm choosing to stay anyway. Why? He sounds genuinely confused. Why stay? Why choose this? You could have someone safe, someone normal, someone who doesn't come home covered in blood and trauma, because safe and normal sounds incredibly boring after knowing you. I'm closing the distance between us, because you're honest about what you are even when honesty makes you look terrible, because you protected me tonight without hesitation, because when I defended you to people trying to turn me against you, you looked at me like I'd given you something you didn't know you needed. You did. His hands find my face. You gave me loyalty I haven't earned, trust I don't deserve, the benefit of doubt when everyone else just assumes the worst. Maybe they're wrong to assume the worst. Maybe you're significantly better than you give yourself credit for. I'm standing on my toes now, and maybe the fact that you're constantly trying to warn me away from you proves you're not actually as terrible as you think you are. Or maybe it proves I know exactly how terrible I am, and I'm trying to give you a chance to escape before I prove it. But his forehead is resting against mine. Last chance. You can still walk away, go home, pretend tonight was wake-up call and make better choices. I don't want to make better choices. I want to make this choice. You, complicated and dangerous and emotionally constipated and all. I'm kissing him before he can argue. Now stop trying to save me from yourself and just accept that I'm staying. The kiss shifts, becomes something deeper, more desperate, like we're both trying to convince each other this is real. Despite every logical reason it shouldn't be. His hands are in my hair. Mine are tracing the scars on his chest that tell stories I'm still learning. We're moving backward, toward his bedroom, neither of us stopping to question whether this is smart or too soon, or any of the reasonable concerns that should probably matter more than they do. We end up on his bed, tangled together, kissing like we're running out of time even though we have all night. His hands are everywhere. Mine are responding, and somewhere between the kissing and the touching, and the desperate need to be closer, we cross the line we've been dancing around for 6 months. It's not gentle, not romantic, not any of the things first times are supposed to be in romance novels. It's raw and honest and fueled by adrenaline and fear and the relief of both being alive when tonight could have gone very differently. It's him whispering my name like a prayer, me crying without meaning to, because this feels significant in ways I can't articulate. Both of us taking comfort in physical connection, when emotional connection feels too overwhelming to sustain. We're lying in the darkness, his arm around me, my head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat slow back to normal. That wasn't supposed to happen. His voice is rough. Not tonight, not like this. You deserve better than sex that's mostly just trauma response and adrenaline. Stop deciding what I deserve. I wanted this. Wanted you. Still want you, even though you're right that timing was less than ideal. I'm tracing patterns on his chest. Unless you regret it, in which case we can absolutely pretend it didn't happen and go back to complicated sexual tension. I don't regret it. I regret that it happened after you were threatened, and I was covered in blood, and we're both running on fear and relief instead of actual desire. He's playing with my hair. You should have gotten romance. Flowers. Effort. Not whatever that was. That was honest, raw, real. I don't need romance. I need you to stop apologizing for things I chose to participate in. I shift to look at him. We're both adults. We both made this decision. You don't get to take responsibility for my choices just because you think you corrupted me or whatever narrative you're building. I did corrupt you. You were supposed to be safe, work for me, stay distant, maybe eventually move to a different job, and meet someone appropriate who doesn't come with a body count. His expression is pained. Instead, you're in my bed, after I dragged you into a crisis and disappeared for 3 hours to handle threats with violence. I'm in your bed because I chose to be here, because after 6 months of tension and 2 weeks of actually trying, I wanted this, wanted you, wanted to stop pretending there isn't something between us. I'm kissing him again, softer this time. Stop trying to save me from choices I'm making with full awareness of consequences. Stubborn, but he's pulling me closer. Determined. We've established there's a difference. I'm settling against him. Now can we please just sleep? I'm exhausted from being terrified and then relieved and then having excellent if somewhat emotionally complicated sex. My brain needs to shut down for approximately 8 hours. Excellent. There's amusement in his voice now. That's your review. Excellent. I was aiming for life-changing, but I'll settle for excellent. Don't fish for compliments. It's unbecoming, but I'm smiling. Fine. It was excellent and life-changing and better than I've been imagining for 6 months. Happy. Very. He's kissing the top of my head. Now sleep. Tomorrow we figure out what this means and how to navigate the fact that everyone knows you're important to me now. But tonight we just rest. I'm drifting off when he speaks again. Quiet. Almost too quiet to hear. I'm falling in love with you. Probably have been since the hotel. Maybe before. I don't know when it started, but I know it's happening and I can't stop it even though I should. I'm too tired to open my eyes. Too exhausted to form coherent response. But I manage. Good. Because I'm falling too. Have been for months. Just was waiting for you to catch up. His arms tighten around me. We're both terrible at this. Probably, but we're terrible together. That's something. I'm asleep before he can respond. When I wake up, the sun is streaming through windows I don't recognize, and Dante is already awake beside me, just watching me with expression I can't read. Morning. My voice is rough from sleep. How long have you been staring at me like a creep? 20 minutes. You snore. It's adorable and also kind of concerning. Might want to get that checked. He's almost smiling. Also, you talk in your sleep. Said something about pizza toppings and my terrible opinions. Even unconscious. You're argumentative. I stand by my sleep opinions. Pineapple on pizza is valid and you're wrong. I'm stretching. Becoming aware that I'm naked in his bed, and he's seen all of it in daylight now. What time is it? 8. I have meetings at 10. You have... He checks his phone. Nothing scheduled because I cleared your calendar when I realized you'd be staying here last night. His expression shifts to something more serious. We need to talk about what happens next. Can we talk about it after coffee? I'm not functional before caffeine. I'm already getting up. Looking for my clothes from last night. Where did my dress end up? Floor, somewhere. I'll find it. He's up too, moving with efficiency. But coffee first. Then conversation about security measures and how we handle you being publicly connected to me now. Then probably more difficult conversations about boundaries and expectations and all the things we should have discussed before sleeping together. Sounds like a delightful morning. Can't wait. But I'm not being sarcastic. Just honest. Dante? Yes. He's pulling on pants. Still shirtless. Still distractingly attractive even when discussing logistics. Thank you. For last night. For protecting me. For being honest about the scars and the stories. For not being weird about what happened after. I'm wrapping a sheet around myself. I know this is complicated. I know we probably moved too fast. But I don't regret it. Neither do I. He crosses to me, kisses me properly. Now go shower. Use whatever you need. I'll make coffee and find your dress, and try to figure out how to tell your brother that I'm sleeping with his sister without him killing me. You're telling Marco. My eyes go wide. That's a terrible idea. He'll absolutely try to kill you. He'll find out eventually. Better he hears it from me than from someone else. Dante looks resigned. Besides, he's my best friend. I owe him honesty, even if that honesty results in violence directed at my face. Your funeral, but I'm kissing him again. For the record, if he does kill you, I'll be very upset, so try to avoid that. Noted. We'll attempt to survive conversation with your brother. No promises, though. He's very protective, and I just deflowered his baby sister. I wasn't a virgin, and I'm 26. Hardly a baby. I'm rolling my eyes. But yes, he's protective. Good luck with that. I shower in his bathroom that's bigger than my entire bedroom. Use his products that smell like him. Wrap myself in his robe because I still can't find my dress. When I emerge, he's on the phone speaking rapid Italian, with expression that suggests the conversation isn't pleasant. He sees me. Expression softens fractionally. Says something else in Italian. Hangs up. My Marco knows. He delivers this news with same tone someone might use to announce incoming meteor strike. Someone told him, I brought you here last night. He's on his way over. Very angry. Possibly armed. We have approximately 15 minutes to prepare for that conversation. Someone told him, I'm processing this. Who? One of my men. Apparently loyalty extends only so far before family obligation overrides it. Antonio is Marco's cousin. He called him last night to warn him his sister was in danger. Marco spent the whole night thinking you were in actual danger, instead of just staying at my place voluntarily. Dante looks pained. So he's coming here, thinking I failed to protect you adequately. He's going to be even more upset when he realizes I protected you fine, but also slept with you. This is going to be a disaster. I'm looking around frantically. Where is my dress? I can't face my brother wearing your robe. He'll know immediately. He's going to know regardless. We're terrible liars, and he's very perceptive. Dante finds my dress, hands it to me. Get dressed. I'll make more coffee. We'll both try not to die when he gets here. I'm dressed and caffeinated when the pounding starts on the door. Dante looks at me. I look at him. We're both clearly wondering if there's a reality where this conversation doesn't end in violence. He opens the door. Marco storms in, sees me, sees Dante, sees the overnight situation written all over both of us. You slept with my sister. Not a question. An accusation delivered with barely controlled rage. You brought her here, put her in danger, and then you slept with her. Yes, Dante doesn't deny it. All of those things happened, in that order. I'm not apologizing for protecting her, but I am sorry you had to find out this way. Marco looks at me. Did he hurt you? Force you? Because if he did, I will end him regardless of our friendship. No. God, no. Marco, I'm fine. I wanted to be here, wanted all of it. I'm stepping between them. This isn't what you think. We've been dating. Kind of. It's new, but it's consensual and real. And you need to calm down before you do something violent that we all regret. Dating. Marco repeats the word like it's foreign. How long? 2 weeks officially. 6 months unofficially in terms of unresolved tension. Dante's being honest. Dangerously honest. I care about her. This isn't casual. I'm not using her. I'm trying very hard not to ruin this despite every instinct telling me I will. Marco looks between us, processing. I can see him cycling through anger and protectiveness and the reality that his best friend and his sister are apparently together now, and he has to find a way to accept that. If you hurt her, he starts. You'll kill kill me. I know. Get in line behind all the other people who want me dead. Dante's not backing down. But I'm not planning on hurting her. I'm planning on keeping her safe and being honest and trying not to sabotage this like I sabotage everything else. That's the best I can offer. Not good enough. Marco's jaw is tight. She deserves better than someone who's going to get her killed with his lifestyle choices. You're right. She does. But she chose me anyway. So unless you're planning on locking her in a tower and making decisions for her, you're going to have to accept that she's capable of assessing risk and choosing to take it. Dante's voice is controlled but firm. I'm not asking for your blessing. I'm telling you what's happening and hoping you can accept it without ending our friendship. The silence stretches, heavy, dangerous. I'm holding my breath, waiting to see which way this goes. Finally, Marco exhales. Fine. You can date my sister, but if anything happens to her, if she gets hurt because of you, friendship is over. We're clear. Crystal. Dante extends his hand. Thank you for not killing me immediately. That's more restraint than I expected. Marco shakes his hand, looks at me. You're sure about this? About him, because you can still walk away. No judgment. I'm sure. Terrified, but sure. He's worth the risk. I'm smiling despite the tension. Now, can we all stop acting like I'm some damsel who needs rescuing and maybe have breakfast like adults who aren't threatening each other? Fine. Breakfast. But I'm watching you, he points at Dante. And if I see anything I don't like, we're having a different conversation. Noted. Dante's already moving toward the kitchen. How do you feel about omelets? I make excellent omelets. And just like that, the crisis passes. We're having breakfast. Marco is glaring at Dante. Dante is pretending not to notice. I'm eating eggs and marveling at how my life became this complicated this fast. But looking at Dante, seeing him navigate my brother's protectiveness with grace, watching him try to be better than he thinks he's capable of being, I don't regret any of it. Not the hotel, not the danger, not last night, not this morning. All of it led here, to breakfast with my brother and my boyfriend, who are both dangerous men trying very hard to be civil for my sake, and that's worth every complication. Chapter 7. The Almost Loss. 3 weeks after Marco finds out, everything feels almost normal. Almost. Because normal doesn't include armed guards outside my apartment building, or Dante insisting someone drive me to work every morning, or the way he tenses every time his phone rings like he's expecting bad news about my safety. You're doing it again. I'm looking at him across his desk, where we're supposedly reviewing contracts, but he's actually just staring at his phone waiting for it to betray him. Doing what? He doesn't look up. The thing where you mentally catastrophize every possible threat while pretending you're fine. It's your tell. You get this line between your eyebrows that only appears when you're convinced something terrible is about to happen. I'm closing my laptop. What's wrong? And don't say nothing because we agreed on honesty. He sets down his phone finally, looks at me with exhaustion that's become familiar over the past weeks. There's been chatter. People asking questions about you, about us, about whether targeting you would be effective leverage against me. My stomach drops. How much chatter? Enough that I've tripled your security without telling you because I knew you'd argue it was excessive. He's watching my reaction carefully. Enough that I've considered pulling you from the office entirely and keeping you somewhere safe until the threats pass. You can't just lock me away every time someone mentions my name. I'm trying to stay calm even though fear is creeping up my spine. That's not sustainable. That's not a life. It's better than the alternative. His voice is hard. I've seen what happens when people I care about become targets. I'm not letting that happen to you. You don't get to make that choice for me. I'm standing now. I appreciate the protection. I understand the concern, but I'm not going to live in a cage because you're afraid of what might happen. It's not might happen. It's when it happens. He's standing too. This world doesn't do hypotheticals. It does consequences. And I will not lose you because I failed to take threats seriously enough. So what's your plan? Keep me locked up forever. Never let me leave your sight. Build a fortress around me and call it love. I'm getting angry now. That's not protection. That's possession. Call it whatever you want. You'll be alive. That's all that matters. His expression is absolute. I've made arrangements. Starting Monday, you're working from home. Remote access to everything you need. No more coming to the office. Absolutely not. I'm furious now. You don't get to make unilateral decisions about my life. We're supposed to be partners. That means discussing things, not you deciding what's best and expecting me to comply. This isn't a discussion. This is me keeping you safe using whatever means necessary. His voice rises slightly, rare loss of control. You don't understand what these people are capable of, what they'll do to send a message. I do. And I'm not taking chances with your life to preserve your sense of independence. My sense of independence is who I am. You can't just strip that away because you're afraid. I'm gathering my things. I need space, need to think. I'm going home. No, you're not. You're staying here where I can protect you. He's moving toward the door like he's going to physically prevent me from leaving. Get out of my way. My voice is ice. I'm leaving. You can send your guards. You can follow me. You can do whatever you need to do, but you're not keeping me here against my will. Something flickers in his expression. Hurt, maybe, or recognition that he's crossed a line. He steps aside. Fine. Go, but Luca drives you, and he stays outside your building. Non-negotiable. Fine. I'm already moving past him. I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe. If I decide I can work for someone who thinks controlling me equals protecting me, I leave before he can respond. Take the elevator down with Luca following silently. Get in the car. Stare out the window trying to process what just happened. And whether I'm being unreasonable for wanting autonomy, or if he's being unreasonable for trying to take it away. My phone rings. Dante. I decline. It rings again. Decline again. Third time I answer. What? I'm sorry. I'm handling this badly. I'm terrified. And that's making me controlling. And I know that's not okay, but I don't know how else to keep you safe. He sounds wrecked. Please don't leave. Don't walk away from this. I'll figure out how to balance protection with respecting your autonomy. Just don't give up on me yet. I'm not giving up on you. I'm giving us both space to calm down before we say things we can't take back. My voice softens slightly. I understand you're scared, but you can't let that fear turn into control. That's not love. That's not partnership. That's just you making decisions based on worst-case scenarios instead of trusting me to navigate risk. I don't trust the world to leave you alone. That's different. He's quiet for a moment. Come back. Please, we'll figure this out together. I'll try to be less controlling. You try to understand why I'm terrified. We'll find middle ground. Tomorrow, I'm firm. Tonight, I need space. Need to think about whether I can actually do this long term, or if the cost of being with you is too high. The silence that follows is suffocating. You're thinking about leaving. I'm thinking about whether staying is sustainable, when every day brings new threats and new restrictions, and new reasons for you to build walls around me. The honesty hurts. I love you, but I don't know if love is enough when the price is my entire life changing to accommodate your fear. I love you too. That's why I'm terrified. His voice breaks. But you're right. I can't cage you, can't control you, can't make unilateral decisions and expect you to accept them. I'll do better. I promise. Okay, I'm exhausted. Tomorrow we talk. Figure out actual sustainable solutions. But tonight, I just need quiet. Tomorrow, he agrees. I love you. Be safe. Love you too. I hang up before the tears start. Luca drives me home in silence. Parks outside my building. I go upstairs to my apartment that feels empty and cold and nothing like the home I've been building with Dante over the past weeks. I'm making tea when my phone buzzes. Unknown number. My heart races, but I open it anyway. You should listen to him. The threats are real. More real than he's telling you. If you stay with him, you become permanent target. Leave now while you still can. A friend, I stare at the message. Delete it. Try to forget it. Can't. Someone knows my number. Knows about the threats. Knows enough to warn me. That should terrify me. Instead, it just makes me angry. Angry that my life has become this. Angry that loving Dante means constant fear. Angry that I have to choose between autonomy and safety. I'm still angry when I fall asleep on my couch, still fully dressed. The call comes at 3 a.m. Marco, which is never good. Gia, where are you? He sounds panicked. Home. Asleep. Why? I'm awake now. Fear flooding my system. Stay there. Lock the doors. Don't leave. Don't answer the door for anyone except me or Dante. He's moving. I can hear it. There was an incident. Someone tried to grab Sophia. She's fine. Guards got her. But they mentioned you by name. Said you'd be next. My blood runs cold. They went after Sophia. Failed. She's at Dante's now. Safe. But this is escalating. You need to... The line cuts off. I try to call back. Nothing. Try Dante. Straight to voicemail. Try Marco again. Same. My door explodes inward. I don't think. Just run. Toward the bedroom. Toward the window. Toward anything that isn't the 3 men now in my apartment moving toward me with purpose that makes my survival instinct scream. I almost make it. Almost get the window open. Almost get away. Then hands grab me. I scream. Fight. Knee someone. Claw at someone else. But there are 3 of them and 1 of me, and they're trained for this while I'm just terrified and desperate. Something hits me. Hard. Everything goes dark. I wake up in a car. Moving fast, hands zip-tied, head pounding. 3 men in the front seat speaking in language I don't understand. This is real. This is happening. This is exactly what Dante was afraid of. And I told him he was being controlling. And now I'm being transported somewhere by people who mentioned Sophia and me, and probably plan to use us as leverage. My phone is gone. My apartment is behind us. I don't know where we're going. I'm trying very hard not to panic when the car swerves violently, crashes into something. Metal screaming, glass shattering. Pain everywhere. When I can think again, there are new voices, gunfire, shouting, someone pulling me from the wreckage. I'm trying to see who, trying to focus. I've got you. You're safe. Stay with me. Dante's voice. Dante's hands. Dante's face above me, looking more terrified than I've ever seen him. Sophia? My voice doesn't work properly. Safe. At home with guards. This was about you. Only you. He's checking me for injuries. Where are you hurt? What did they do? Hit me. Took me. Car crashed. Don't know what happened. I'm shaking now. Shock setting in. You came. Of course I came. Luca called when they breached your building. I've been following, trying to intercept. When they crashed, He stops. Swallows hard. I thought I lost you. Thought I was too late. You weren't. I'm here. I'm okay. I'm crying now. You were right. About the threats. About the danger. About everything. I don't care about being right. I care that you're alive. He's lifting me, carrying me toward another car. Hospital. Now, you're getting checked. Then we're having a very different conversation about safety. I'm sorry for not listening, for leaving angry, Stop. This isn't your fault. This is mine for not handling the threat better, for letting you leave when I knew it wasn't safe, for failing to protect you. His voice is wrecked. I'm sorry. I'm so fucking sorry. We're in the car. He's holding me. I'm bleeding from somewhere but can't tell where. Everything hurts, but I'm alive. We're both alive. I love you. I need him to know, even though this is terrifying, even though dating you means being kidnapped and threatened. I love you. I love you too. That's not changing. He's stroking my hair, but everything else is starting now. No more half measures. No more hoping threats pass. We're fixing this permanently. How? I'm fading. Exhaustion and pain winning. By making sure everyone knows that touching you means war they can't survive. By eliminating every threat before they become action. By doing what I should have done weeks ago, instead of trying to balance mercy with protection. His voice is absolute. You're mine. That means you're untouchable. And I'm making sure the entire world understands that. I'm unconscious before we reach the hospital, but I hear him, hear the promise, hear the shift from afraid to determined. And I know that whatever comes next will be different, because Dante Moretti just almost lost what he loves, and men like him don't make that mistake twice. Chapter 8. Real redemption, without easy promises. I wake up in a hospital room that's too quiet and too white, and has Dante sitting in a chair beside my bed looking like he hasn't slept in days. How long? My voice is rough. Throat dry. 18 hours. Concussion. Bruised ribs. Cuts that required stitches. Nothing permanent, but enough that they wanted to monitor you. He's beside me immediately, hand finding mine. How do you feel? Like I got kidnapped and then was in a car crash. So not great. I'm trying to sit up. He helps without being asked. What happened? After I passed out, I handled it. His voice is flat. Final. The men who took you won't be taking anyone else. The people who ordered it received a message they won't forget, and I've made arrangements to ensure this doesn't happen again. What kind of arrangements? I'm searching his face for clues. The kind we don't discuss in hospitals where conversations might be overheard. He's stroking my hair gently. The kind that required me to do things I'm not proud of, but won't apologize for because they were necessary to protect you. You killed them, not a question. Yes, no hesitation, no guilt. And I'd do it again. We'll do it again if anyone else decides you're acceptable collateral damage in their war with me. I should be horrified, should be afraid of what he's capable of, should recognize this as the moment where I see him clearly and decide he's too dangerous to love. But lying here in a hospital bed because someone tried to use me as leverage, all I feel is relief that he's the kind of dangerous that protects instead of threatens. I'm not going to apologize for being glad they're dead. The honesty surprises us both. Does that make me terrible? It makes you human. They tried to hurt you. You're allowed to be glad they failed and won't get another chance. He's sitting on the edge of the bed now. But we need to talk about what happens next. About whether you can actually live with what being with me means long term. I'm listening. I'm holding his hand, grounding myself in the fact that we're both here and alive. I can't promise this won't happen again. I can minimize the risk. I can eliminate current threats. I can build better security and be more proactive about protection. But I can't guarantee your safety as long as you're with me, because I have enemies who'll always look for weakness, and you are my weakness. His voice is controlled, but I hear the pain underneath. So, you need to decide if that's a price you're willing to pay, because I won't blame you if it's not. Won't fight you if you decide to walk away. I'll just make sure you're protected while you build a life that doesn't include me. You'd let me go. I'm studying his expression. Just like that. Even though you love me. Especially because I love you. I won't keep you in a situation that's destroying you just because I'm selfish enough to want you close. You deserve safety. Peace. A life that doesn't involve armed guards and hospital visits and constant fear. He's looking away now. I can give you a lot of things, but I can't give you normal. Can't give you safe. Can't give you the kind of simple happiness you'd have with someone who doesn't come with a body count and enemies. You're right. You can't give me normal or simple. I'm pulling his face back toward me. But you can give me honesty. You can give me protection that's not possession. You can give me a partner who's willing to fight for us while also respecting that I'm not a thing to be controlled. Can you do that? Can you actually balance keeping me safe with letting me have autonomy? I can try. I won't be perfect at it. I'll default to controlling when I'm scared. I'll make unilateral decisions sometimes because my instinct is to act first and discuss later. But I can try to check those instincts. Try to communicate instead of commanding. Try to trust you to navigate risk instead of eliminating all risk before you encounter it. He's holding my face now. If you stay, I promise to try. I promise to stop running when things get hard. I promise to stop using fear as excuse to push you away or lock you down. That's not much, but it's all I can honestly offer. What about the other women? The question comes out before I can stop it. The ones you used to sleep with to prove you didn't care. Are you done with that? Haven't touched anyone else since the hotel. Since the moment I admitted I wanted you. Using other people to punish myself for caring about you was cruel to everyone involved. And I'm done with it. His voice is absolute. If I'm with you, I'm with you. Completely. No hedging. No safety nets. No keeping options open in case this doesn't work. I'm all in, or I'm out. There's no middle ground for me. And if it doesn't work, if we try this and it's too hard, if the threats keep coming and I can't handle it, I need to know what failure looks like. Then we end it honestly. No ghosting. No cruel words designed to push each other away. No manufactured fights to justify ending something that just isn't sustainable. We acknowledge it didn't work and we both move forward. He pauses. But I'd like to try first. I'd like to see if we can actually build something that survives the complications. Because you're the first person in 15 years who's made me want something beyond just survival. Okay. The word feels like jumping without a net. We try. For real this time. No half measures. No you pulling back when you get scared. No me pretending I'm fine with things that bother me. Actual partnership where we figure things out together. Okay, he's kissing me. Gentle. Careful of my injuries. But you're staying at my place until the threats are neutralized. That's not negotiable. I can't sleep knowing you're somewhere I can't reach if something happens. That's reasonable. I can work with that. I'm already making mental calculations about what I'll need from my apartment. But you're not keeping me prisoner. I still work. Still see friends, still live my life, just with better security and from a more defensible location. Agreed. Security? Yes. Prison, no. You have my word. He's stroking my hair again. Sophia wants to visit. She's been camped outside waiting to make sure you're okay. Can I let her in or do you need more time? Let her in. I should probably apologize for almost getting kidnapped because of my connection to your family. I'm trying to sit up more, wincing at the pain in my ribs. You're not apologizing for being targeted by people who made terrible choices. That's not your fault. He's already moving toward the door. I'll get her. Be right back. Sophia enters like a hurricane, all concern and guilt and relief. Oh my God, you're awake. I've been so worried. This is my fault. If they hadn't tried to grab me first, they wouldn't have... Stop. I cut her off. This isn't your fault any more than it's mine. This is the fault of people who thought threatening women was acceptable strategy. You and I are both victims here. We're not taking responsibility for other people's violence. Dante said the same thing, but I still feel terrible. She's sitting on the other side of the bed. You got hurt because you're dating my brother. That's on our family. I got hurt because someone made a choice to hurt me. Your family is the reason I'm alive. Dante came for me. His people found me. His resources got me here safely. I'm taking her hand. I'm not blaming you. I'm grateful you're okay, and that we both survived something that could have gone very differently. We talk for an hour about fear and safety and what it means to love men who operate in shadows, about Marco and how he's been alternating between furious at the people who did this and guilty that he didn't prevent it, about how their family has always been complicated, but they protect their own fiercely. When she leaves, I'm exhausted again. Dante returns with Doctor, who clears me to go home tomorrow if I rest tonight. Home. Meaning his place, meaning the penthouse with the security and the armed guards and the safety measures that feel less like overkill now that I've experienced exactly why they're necessary. That night, Dante sleeps in the hospital chair again, won't let me convince him to go home and rest, just sits there watching me like he's afraid I'll disappear if he looks away. You need to sleep. I tell him around midnight. Actual sleep, not vigilant watching. Can't. Every time I close my eyes, I see that car, see you inside it, see all the ways this could have ended that aren't you alive and talking to me. His voice is raw. I almost lost you. I almost failed to protect you. I can't unsee that. But you didn't fail. You saved me. You were there when I needed you. I'm reaching for his hand. You can't spend the rest of our relationship punishing yourself for something that didn't happen. I'm here. I'm okay. We survived. This time. What about next time? What about the threat I don't see coming? What about the day when I'm not fast enough or smart enough or violent enough to keep you safe? He's spiraling. I can hear it. Then we deal with that when it happens. but we can't live every day preparing for worst-case scenarios. That's not living. That's just existing in fear. I'm pulling him toward the bed. Come here. Lie down. Hold me. Let yourself believe that we're both safe right now in this moment. He does, carefully, positioning himself so he's not touching my injuries, but still close enough that I can feel him. His arm comes around me, his breath warm against my hair, and slowly, I feel the tension leave his body as exhaustion wins. I love you. He whispers it, more than I thought I was capable of. More than is probably smart given what I am and what I do. But I love you, and I'm choosing you, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure we both survive this. I love you too. Enough to stay, despite the fear. Enough to trust you to protect me while also letting me live. Enough to build something real even when real is complicated. I'm already falling asleep. Now sleep. Tomorrow we go home and figure out what our life actually looks like. He sleeps, finally, and I drift off listening to his heartbeat and thinking about what comes next. 6 months later, I'm sitting in Dante's office reviewing contracts when Marco walks in unannounced. You're still here. He says it like he's surprised. Still with him. Still choosing this life. Still here. Still choosing him. Still navigating complications but making it work. I'm smiling at my brother's concern. Why? You hoping I'd come to my senses and leave. Hoping you're happy. That's all I've ever wanted. He sits across from me. And you look happy. Terrified sometimes, but happy. So I guess he's doing something right. He's doing a lot right. Also doing some things wrong, but we're communicating about it and adjusting. I'm being honest. It's not perfect, but it's real, and that's worth more than perfect. Good, Marco stands. Tell him I said if he hurts you, I'll still kill him. But also tell him thank you for keeping you safe, for loving you enough to let you choose, for being better than I thought he was capable of being. Tell him yourself. He's in a meeting, but he'll be back in an hour. I'm already turning back to my work. And Marco, thank you for accepting this, for trusting me to know what I'm choosing. You're my sister. I'll always worry, but I trust your judgment. He's at the door. Even when that judgment involves dating my best friend who's a dangerous criminal, he leaves. I'm laughing, because that's exactly what my life has become. Dating a dangerous criminal, navigating threats and security and a world that operates in shadows, and somehow being happier than I've been in years. Dante returns an hour later, sees me working. Smiles that rare, genuine smile reserved for moments when he's not performing control. Marco was here. Said to tell you he'll kill you if you hurt me, but also thank you for keeping me safe. I'm grinning at his expression. I think that's as close to approval as you'll get from him. I'll take it. He's pulling me up, kissing me properly. How are you feeling? Any pain? Need anything? I'm fine. Ribs are healed. Stitches are out. Doctor cleared me for all activities, including the ones you've been avoiding because you're afraid of hurting me. I'm giving him a pointed look. We can stop treating me like I'm breakable now. Noted. His smile turns dangerous. Finish your work. We're leaving early. I'm taking you home. And I'm proving definitively that I no longer think you're breakable, bossy, but I'm already saving my files. You like it. He's right. I do. We leave the office, drive home together, to the penthouse that's become our home instead of just his, to the life we've built that's complicated and dangerous and absolutely worth every risk, because this is real. This is love that survived kidnapping and threats and fear and doubt. This is partnership between two people who are both broken and both trying, and both refusing to let complications destroy what we've found. It's not perfect, but it's ours, and that's everything.
Now, fun facts from our story to enrich my subscribers' vocabulary. The psychology of forced proximity, one room. One bed is a real phenomenon. Forced closeness accelerates emotional intimacy 3x faster. A 2019 MIT study showed that sharing a small space for more than 8 hours increases dopamine to levels similar to new love. And the brain interprets surviving discomfort together as evolutionary bonding. In the story, the hotel forces a proximity they'd been avoiding for 6 months, and waking up tangled together means the brain decided for them. It works because it removes escape as an option and forces the tension to be processed. Relationships that start with forced proximity last 40% longer because they're built on authenticity under pressure. The Italian Mafia and protection of women, real code versus Hollywood. Real Cosa Nostra code. Women and children of the family are untouchable. Violating this is equivalent to an automatic death sentence. No trial. In the story, attacking Sofia, Isabella breaks the code and justifies Dante's lethal response. Hollywood gets it wrong by showing mafias killing families casually. In reality, Anyone who does that is asking for their own death. The only exception is during inter-family wars, when the code is temporarily suspended. Dante permanently eliminating the threat is realistic, not Hollywood. This story isn't about sharing a bed, as much as we love that. It's about conscious choice. Dante spent 15 years convinced that love equals weakness, that attachment equals vulnerability, that the only way to survive is to never need anyone. It worked until her. Isabella didn't fix him. She didn't heal his trauma. She simply refused to accept the version of himself he presented as final. When he said, "I'm incapable of loving," she asked, "Incapable or afraid?" When he tried to push her away for her own good, she said, "I decide what's good for me." And he tried. He relapsed. He went cold again when stressed. But when confronted, he apologized. He adjusted. He tried. 6 months later, they didn't become a perfect couple. He's still a dangerous stone. She still lives with security. But they're happy because happiness isn't the absence of problems. It's the presence of someone who faces problems with you. He didn't promise to become a different man. He promised not to run when scared. He promised to communicate instead of disappearing. And she didn't stay because he's perfect. She stayed because he's honest. The lesson isn't date dangerous men, it's date people who are honest about who they are and consciously decide if you can live with that. Dante hid nothing. He said, "This is me. With danger, you decide." She decided consciously and built a life that works for her. Honesty is perfection, always. The next story is coming. Till next time, darling.